Hey, my name is Theodore, and in this story you're going to see how HOA Karen cut down my hedges, and what I built that left her shocked. If you enjoy wild HOA stories like this, make sure to hit subscribe so you never miss the drama. Now, let's get straight into the story. I pulled into my driveway one late afternoon, the golden sun barely hanging over the rooftops, and my heart dropped. The hedges, the tall, lush, green walls that had given me privacy for years, were gone. Not trimmed, not shaped, gone. All that remained were jagged, raw stumps poking out of the soil like broken teeth. And there she was, HOA Karen, clipboard in one hand, smug smile plastered across her face like she had just done the neighborhood a favor. She looked at me with a mock sweetness and said, "You're welcome. Those hedges were a violation." For a moment, I couldn't even process it. Those hedges weren't just plants. They were my barrier from prying eyes, my shade in the summer heat, part of my home's character. She had cut them down without asking, without notice, without care. I clenched my fists and asked why. She waved her papers like a queen with a decree. "The HOA wants uniform yards. Yours was an eyesore. Be honest. If your HOA cut down your hedges without asking, what would you do first?" That was the exact moment I swore to myself she would regret touching my property. Narrator tone pause. Curious. Inviting. The first few nights, I sat outside, staring at the barren yard. Every time Karen strolled by, her smug grin widened, like she enjoyed watching me stew. My yard felt naked, exposed, and I knew I had two choices: roll over or fight back. One evening, the idea came to me. Karen hated my hedges because she thought they stood out. Fine. If she hated plants, then I would build something she couldn't possibly ignore. Something permanent. Something stronger than wood. Taller than any hedge. A fortress. A fortress made of cinder blocks. I pulled out a notepad and started sketching. Thick walls. Clean edges. A structure that was fully within city code but would tower over anything she could do. This wasn't just petty revenge. This was justice. I researched all week, checked zoning laws, pulled permit applications, and made sure every line of my plan was airtight. Karen had taken something personal from me. I was going to give her something she could never erase. Tell me, do you think building a fortress is going too far? Or exactly what Karen deserves? That Saturday morning, a delivery truck backed into my driveway, stacked high with pallets of gray cinder blocks. The rumbling engine echoed through the street, and before the driver even unloaded the first block, I saw her, Karen, marching down the sidewalk like a drill sergeant. She jabbed her finger toward the truck. "What is this?" she barked. I gave her my calmest smile. "Just a little project. All legal. Don't worry." Her eyes narrowed. She demanded to see permits. But here's the thing, I had already done my homework. Days earlier, I had filed the paperwork with the city, double-checked the codes, and secured every signature I needed. The fortress wasn't just an idea. It was legally untouchable. Karen stormed off, clutching her phone. By the afternoon, she was back, snapping pictures from every angle like she was a detective at a crime scene. I laid the first bricks that day, each one feeling heavier with satisfaction. And as I stacked them higher, I could feel Karen's rage building just as fast. A week passed, and the wall began to rise. That's when I got the letter, an official HOA violation notice. Unapproved structure, it read. I nearly laughed out loud. I knew exactly who sent it. The next day, Karen was on the curb, pointing toward my yard as two uniformed police officers walked up. She looked like a lawyer delivering her closing argument, gesturing wildly as she talked about illegal construction and community standards. One of the officers knocked politely on my door. I opened with a smile and handed him a folder. Inside, permits, approvals stamped and signed by the city. He flipped through them, nodded, and turned back to Karen. "He's good. Nothing illegal here." The look on her face, priceless. The color drained, her mouth opened, but no words came out. For the first time, HOA Karen had nothing to say. That night, I sat back and thought, this wasn't just about me anymore. This was about standing up to people who thought they owned everyone else. Brick by brick, my fortress rose higher. Days turned into weeks, and soon, the plain stumps of my lost hedges were replaced with a towering wall of stone. It wasn't just functional, it looked like a piece of art. Clean, strong, unshakable. Neighbors stopped by, curious. Some chuckled and whispered, "Karen's going to lose her mind." Others gave me a thumbs up and said, "Good for you." And Karen? She stood across the street, arms folded, jaw clenched. She watched, powerless, as my wall reached its full height. By the time I finished, it wasn't just a wall. It was a fortress, privacy restored, security guaranteed. And the HOA? Helpless. Karen had cut down my hedges thinking she'd humiliate me. But now, every time she looked out her window, all she saw was the fortress she could never tear down. In the weeks that followed, Karen's presence began to fade. No more smug walks, no more papers waved in my face. She even stopped speaking up in HOA meetings. The fortress had done something no one else dared to do. It silenced her. One evening, I sat on my porch, the fortress glowing orange in the sunset. For the first time in months, my yard felt like mine again. The battle was over, and Karen had lost. The truth is, revenge doesn't always need shouting matches or angry confrontations. Sometimes it's building something so permanent that the other person is forced to live with the reminder every single day. I sipped my drink, leaned back, and smiled. Because in the end, I didn't just build a wall. I built peace. Moral: stand your ground. When bullies tear you down, build something they can never touch. Best revenge isn't shouting or fighting.